So we are back, and we're going to do some wrestling lesson on the Summer of Scandal event, or Verano de Escalado. And Peanut Gallery, you can fucking, break me over the coals. So this event started in 1997, and it is considered the SummerSlam of AAA. And generally, it happens around this time. So it happens in July. Usually it's mid-July, but it's in July. And they have, it's kind of a weirder history. So the highest, the highest attendance for this show was 18,500 people that are actually watching it. But this one actually has one of the widest ranges of attendance because AAA went through like a really bad slump. Right. The least attended event was in the 1997 event, and that had 4,021 people at it. That's very small, right? And that's very scary. So twice this event has hosted the final match for tournaments, not just for that, but for championships. And one of them is something that obviously everybody will know, but one of them I think is kind of weird. So it's kind of weird of how this worked. So AAA's had two different versions of their mini division champion. Right. But Mascarita Sangrada was their champion, but he left the promotion. So instead of just stripping him of the champion, they made a new champion, which is their mini Estrella champion now. And the tournament final was at this event, I think like 2002. But the bigger one is the Mega Champion final was at this event. Right. So, and once again, we had a very similar situation. AAA did not have the Mega Champion forever. They actually had a World Champion. And that was their main title until, I can't remember who it was, but they quit the company. Right. Because AAA and CMLL, they trade talent like it's candy. Right. So, and they're very exclusive to their company and the people that they work with, and they do not like each other because the whole thing with AAA was I think it was either a writer or an executive that did not agree with how CMLL did it, left and started their own promotion, which was Antonio Pena. So obviously there was that contention there because CMLL has the reputation they have, and they also have the big money, but AAA has the exposure difference because CMLL has always been a company of Mexican heritage wrestling. Right. That's how they've always been. They've worked with WWF, they've worked with All Japan back in the past. I think they still do somewhat, but AAA, and I think Peanut Gallery, you touched on this, that they're really looking for more of that international audience. Yeah. So what they did, actually part of it for the Mega Champion was that reason, because the Mega Champion seemed more culturally around than the World Champion. At least that's what they think. I hate the actual thing of the title. I like the concept, but the title itself is dog shit. Now, there was a time between 2012 and 2014. There were 3 years that there was no Summer of Struggle event. Right. It was not for any other reason other than they changed the lineup for their pay-per-view. So they went from 5 to 4 because this pay-per-view generally drew one of its lowest numbers. Right. Because CMLL always ran a big show around the summer, and they just decided to take Triple Mania, which was usually held in August, September, and move it to June. Right. For those 3 years. But they got backlash for that decision, so they decided to put that back. It's almost like WrestleMania going to like October. Right. So it threw everybody off. When you have an established like thing, you can't really change it, and that's what they tried to do. And when you establish a pay-per-view schedule, just don't mess with it. Right. Just don't. Right. Clearly this was an issue, so they brought it back in 2014, and up until obviously 2020, they had continuous events. 2020 having a little pandemic there.
Right. Just a baby monkey wrench being thrown to everything.
Just totally changing the world. Whatever. It's fine. So that was kind of cool. But no, I actually did lie. So there was actually another time when they actually did not run the event, and that was because they held the Lucha Libre World Cup,
right? Where
they had a bunch of different companies. So they had representation of America, Mexico, Japanese wrestling. All together, they still do this event, but they held it. I think it was in 2014. I actually think this was the 2014 one. No, this was 2017.
Right.
2017's one did not happen because they held this. They held the tournament that time. I think now they hold it a little bit earlier because they do like this pay-per-view. Pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So really, that's kind of where I have to sit with this. The entire pay-per-view lineup of this did not start until 1997, so there's not really a ton of history that happened there.
Right.
Actually, there is one, so we actually did touch about it, is the hair versus hair, mask versus match, the Lucha de Arez, I think it is. I butchered that immensely. But this event, other than Triple Mania, has held more of the stipulation matches than at any other pay-per-view at any other time. So just for context, let's see here. Over the course of the 20 events that this pay-per-view has had, there have been 17 of these Lucha de Arez matches. And there have been a couple of years where they had 2 on the same event.
Right.
Which is freaking weird. And they were actually not even the main event. So they had cage matches. Actually, they do very rare cage matches. They did cage matches of hair versus hair, mask versus mask.
Right.
And they had multiple people in it, which is actually something Peanut Gallery did not say. So usually they hold the hair versus hair between one-on-one competitors, but what they did, especially at this event particularly, they had multi-man hair versus hair, mask versus mask. And the person who pins the other person to get the victory is the one who gets to shave the other person's head, or the one who gets the mask, that kind of stuff. Right. And they actually did it at this pay-per-view. And actually there were some who did tag team matches like this, where it was mask versus mask. Same stipulation. Not all of them had to be unmasked, but the one who was pinned or submitted or whatever had to be unmasked.
Right.
So that was kind of cool. And just for context, AAA has the most of these kinds of matches, but they've had 36 Triple Manias with 25 of these. Now, just out of percentage-wise, 17 of these matches out of 20 events, no matter what, is still better than 25 out of 36, or out of 36 events. That has a higher percentile. So actually what they consider is that this event has the Lucha de Arez matches. This is where they usually have it, other than the years that they don't have it, or they just decide to do it at a different time.
Right.
Just based out of percentile.
Right.
But really, that's just really kind of the event of it. It's usually just a kind of a non-issue event, other than like the hair matches, mask matches.
Right.
And then some tournament finals.
Right.
And obviously with Aras de Oros and some of those, we're definitely going to see more of it.
Right. And isn't this also traditionally kind of like, this traditionally is an event that happens after Triple Mania?
It happened before Triple Mania. It's always happened before.
Oh, it's happened before. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it's always been happening.
There were a few years where it did happen.
It was kind of like, it was kind of the backlash of AAA.
Right. But then especially right now too, because we still have another month and a half, this is the SummerSlam. And that's kind of how they did it, where they start building stuff around Verano. So people even consider it to be the road to Triple Mania starting here.
Right.
Because they usually announce the matches before they start building the rivalries.
Right.
With AAA.
We do have a few matches, but obviously not all the matches, because they're going to stack this card.
They're going to stack this card high, and they did not do well with like announcing these matches. I mean, I got the matches and all the cards and everything like 2 days before the event.
Right.
And even then we had a mess, and we'll talk about that when we make Pro Wrestling Majestic again. But That's kind of what I have. Diego, do you have anything to add? Nope. All right.
I think about everything. All right, we're not only going to make AAA Majestic again, but we're going to make Verano de Escanado Majestic again.
I'm sorry. I'm an American. Build the wall. Trump 2024. The whole 9 yards. All right.
All right, Tiger Trump.